All right, so now that we know what mandalas are and that they're an example of what? Radial symmetry, that's right. So now that we know about radial symmetry, we're going to make our own mandalas. Here's an example of what we'll make. Now I want you guys to remember how it starts in the middle and it goes outwards and it's repeated multiple times throughout the whole mandala. Now I'm going to show you guys a trick for how to make this because it's a little overwhelming with how much stuff is going on. So we have a square piece of paper and we're going to fold it in half so that two corners meet. Remember, we want the corners to meet. And then we'll fold it in half and press it down on the table. And if you come over here and watch how I fold, you're going to fold so the two corners meet again. So you're folding from the long line, the long fold, once again. If you need some help folding, just let me know. And remember, I'll repeat this as we go through it. Now, we need to fold one more time in the middle, where this point is, and in the long fold. Okay? One more time. Now you need to see where you folded so you know where the center of your mandala is. Your center is going to be at the bottom corner that is folded. So it's this little point down here. When we're starting your mandalas, you can use any patterns that you want. I'm going to start with a little bump. And remember, when you guys are doing this, you want to draw pretty hard on the paper so that you can see it really well. And maybe I'll go into a circle next. And notice how my lines are actually pretty big because little details are going to get really lost when we move on with this. So I'm just going to do some basic lines, maybe a couple zigzags, a couple more circles. I think circles are really nice. And if it gets a little cut off, that's okay, because remember, it gets repeated again and again and again. And maybe I'll do some more bumps, and another zigzag, and another zigzag. You guys can do this any way you want. And then I'm gonna do one big circle and some little circles. Now remember, if I did something with a lot of little details in here, like little dots or little zigzags, you're not going to be able to see that and you won't want to repeat that over and over again. So I'm just going to erase those and make sure that I make enough shapes with space in between them. That'll be fun to repeat. Okay, so this is all I'm doing for my first section. I remember that I went really hard so that when I rub it on the other side, you will be able to see it. So you open up one fold and you're going to make sure that the part with the pencil touches the part without any pencil on it by folding it on top of it. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay. So once you have this, and you can open it and see, the pencil is touching the non-pencil part. I'm going to use my pencil and rub it all the way across the whole paper. You want to make sure that you're rubbing really hard because this pencil is going to, excuse me, make marks onto that white part of the paper. So you keep rubbing hard. If I open it, we should be able to see a little. Yep, so you can actually see a little bit of the residue from these pencil marks on this side. That's what we're going to trace. So as you can see here, there's a bump that I can see, and I can see this circle, and I can see this bump. So remember, that's why we have to make our pencil marks really hard because we're going to repeat this process a couple of times. So hard pencil marks. This is what I see. I see my zigzags are right here. And if you can't see them, that's okay. You're just gonna go over it again. See, now I can't see these circles or these dots over here, so I'm gonna go over them one more time, just like that. Fold my paper again and make sure I really get those areas. Now normally we would be using a bone folder because a bone folder works really well for making these marks. But we have a pencil available and it still works. So I can see this big circle and I can see those 3 little circles. Another one, 4. And so now we have 1/4 of our whole mandala done. We're gonna do the same thing by flipping this side over to this. So you saw what I did? I opened up, so this is one big triangle. And then again, we put the pencil marks over on the white part of the paper. I'm gonna use my pencil, rub as hard as I can. And if you need some help rubbing, just let me know. It'll be easier with a bone folder. And you can see the marks a little bit. So that's what I'm gonna go over one more time. So I can see those marks and those, another circle, another circle. Here's a line. And a good way to make sure you have all the shapes you need is to count them. So see, I only see 1 circle here, but I definitely have more because there's 3 right here. So I look at my sections and I say, okay, this is one section. It has 3 circles. I know I need 3 circles here. So I make sure that they're in the right places so that it's exactly the same, okay? So now, once you have all of these drawn out, you're going to open it one last time and fold all of the pencil marks onto the clear area again and bone fold. Once you have the entire paper covered with pencil marks and it looks kind of like this but without the color, you're going to go over it all with a black Sharpie marker. Now that's going to define all of your details and make it nice and sharp so that it stands out really well and your pattern looks fresh. And so then after that, you need to erase your pencil marks because it's gonna look a little messy with pencil smudges and Sharpie all together, so erase all your pencil marks, and then we can color it. When we're coloring, we have to make sure that we go all the way in the whole section the same color, because if I did just this little sliver green and this little sliver blue, it's not symmetrical anymore, right? Because it's not the same on every single side all the way around that center point. We need every section to be colored in exactly the same all the way out from that center circle. But we're probably only going to get to maybe even finishing up our pencil drawings today. And if you get that far, that's great. If you can't, that's okay too. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna go over all these steps again as you're doing it. So are there any questions? Does anyone remember what our first step is? Yep, that's right. Our first step is to fold the paper, okay? Starting from the square, and we fold it. Who remembers how we fold it? Okay, yes, so we fold it like a triangle. We want it to look like a triangle. We keep folding it so it's a triangle until we have a little triangle left, and that's where we start our patterns. Okay, so everyone can start by getting their square paper, and when you get to coloring, if you get that far today, you can use crayons, markers, colored pencils. It's up to you guys, but remember the colors have to go and be symmetrical around the center. All right? Let me know if you guys have any questions and I'll walk around to help you. Go back to your seats.